Users of Wonderware System Platform, also known as Orchestra, can integrate the multitude of different process hardware available using a SuiteLink or an OPC connection to a data server with drivers available for those different hardware types. OmniServer is a user-configurable SuiteLink and OPC DA and UA server that allows users to create custom protocols using device manufacturer documentation that details the communications protocol, all without having to write custom code. This video will walk through how to connect Wonderware System Platform via the SuiteLink interface to the OmniServer Universal Server for integrating non-standard devices such as barcode scanners, scales, RFID systems, sensors, and more. Now, before we get started, as a prerequisite for SuiteLink connections from Wonderware, the Wonderware common components for SuiteLink must be installed on the same machine as OmniServer. Now, if you're running System Platform, InTouch, or any of the other SuiteLink capable Wonderware clients on the same machine as OmniServer, you're good to go. Those are installed as part of the Wonderware installation process. This is only a note in case you're making a remote SuiteLink connection to OmniServer from a different machine. In that particular situation, you'll need to make sure that the Wonderware common components are installed prior to installing OmniServer. These components are available for install from a Wonderware device integration disk or by installing OI Gateway or FS Gateway with older Wonderware versions. For this particular demo, I'm making a local connection on the same machine, so I'm good to go. Now, you'll see I have my OmniServer configuration open. You should be seeing that. And I already have a topic defined in OmniServer that's going to simulate live process data from a device, and that's going to allow us to prove our SuiteLink connection with Wonderware is working correctly and showing changing data. So if I go to my topic section in OmniServer, you can see my topic is called Sim Device, so I'm going to open the properties of that. And you'll see I'm using, as you can see here, I'm using the client_test protocol, and I'm using that together with the random device to simulate live device data. This particular protocol and device combination does install with OmniServer, and that's including the free trial version. So anyone can use this as a tool for simulating live data to test your client connection settings. Now, another setting that's important for SuiteLink connections here in the topic is the update setting that you can see here. And this defaults to 1,000, and this is measured in milliseconds. This controls the poll or update frequency from the device OmniServer is communicating with when the connection is non-OPC. So if it's not an OPC connection, this update rate is important. So since we're making a SuiteLink connection, any items we access from this topic will be polled at a rate of once every 1,000 milliseconds. This is important because this is where you can fine-tune the frequency of requests to your devices from OmniServer. So we're going to go ahead and keep the default of 1,000 milliseconds here. And one last thing I want to show you before we jump over to System Platform. I'm going to go to my protocol section, and I'm going to just open up my client test protocol that we're using, and you'll see the item list here. I want to expand that item list, and that shows you what items are available from this particular topic since it's using this protocol. Now for this demo, I'm going to be connecting to the integer read item specifically, as you can see here. So I'm going to go ahead and close that, minimize my OmniServer. Now, since my OmniServer is set up to simulate the data I need, I'm going to move on to System Platform. So I'm going to bring up my IDE. Now, in my IDE, I've already connected to the Galaxy I'm interested in. That's going to be connecting to my OmniServer. I recommend referring to your Wonderware documentation for detailed instructions on how to actually create a new System Platform Galaxy. Now for this demo, I'll be using the deployment view in the Galaxy. So you see I have my deployment view selected down here at the bottom. The first step in configuring a new project begins with the system object in the template toolbox. So I'm just going to go to the system object folder and expand that. And I'm particularly interested in the Win platform template object, as you can see here. So I just need to drag an instance of that template object under my Galaxy and my deployment view at the bottom. So I'm going to drag it into this white space and release it. Now in this demo, I'm going to maintain the default instance names for all of the objects created for simplicity, but you can name these instances appropriately as needed for your specific project. Now the app engine is the next system object that we need to create for this project. So I'm going to go back to my template toolbox, and you'll see the app engine here. I need to drag an instance of that down to my unassigned host folder. and that creates my App Engine 001 instance. And then which we're going to maintain that. The final system object I need to configure is the area object. So back in my template toolbox, I'm going to grab the area template and drag it down to unassigned host. We're going to keep that default area 001 instance name. Now my App Engine instance can now be assigned under Win Platform. So I'm going to drag that down to my Win Platform and drop it to assign it. And then I need to assign my area 001 instance under the App Engine. I'm going to drag that to the App Engine and release to assign it. Now there's no configuration of these object instances required for this demo. Now that our system object instances are created and in place, we can go and configure our SuiteLink DI or device integration object. So to do that, I need to go up to my device integration folder in the template toolbox, and I need to select what's called the $DDE SuiteLink client DI object from the device integration section. And that's going to be used for making a DDE or a SuiteLink client connection to an underlying DDE or SuiteLink server, which in our case is OmniServer. Now, just for reference, you can also use this DI object to make a DDE connection to OmniServer's legacy DDE interface, but SuiteLink is a higher performance and more robust interface, so it is recommended to go ahead and use the SuiteLink interface instead of DDE wherever possible. So I'm going to grab an instance of that and drop it to the unassigned host folder down in my deployment view. And that creates my instance DDE SuiteLink client _001. I'm going to maintain that name. Next, I need to configure the properties of my DI object instance. So I'm going to go ahead and double click here to open the properties. Now here under the general section, there are essentially 3 properties that I'm specifically interested in. The first property being the server node field that you can see here, which is just the machine where OmniServer is installed. Since my OmniServer is installed locally on the same node as my Galaxy, I just need to leave the server node empty. Now for a remote connection, if you're making a connection to an OmniServer on a different machine from System Platform, you would either browse for the OmniServer machine using the ellipsis button here, or you would enter the DNS name or IP address of the computer where OmniServer is installed. Now next, I need to specify which OPC server to connect to under the server name field. And OmniServer's SuiteLink application name, which is what I need to enter here, is OSRVPOLL. So OSRVPOL, I'm going to enter that there. And the last setting in the general section that I'm interested in is the communication protocol. As you can see, it defaults to SuiteLink, which is what we need to select. That's also where you'd select DDE if you did choose to make a DDE connection. I'm going to leave that set to SuiteLink. And now I can proceed to the topic section of the object properties. And I need to add at least one topic. So to add a new topic, I need to click the blue plus symbol here above the scan mode column. And this allows me to define the name of the topic I have created in OmniServer that you saw earlier. So in this field, I just need to enter sim device and hit enter to create that topic. And you can see there's a scan mode setting here that defaults to active on demand. I'm going to leave that at the default, which is the most efficient option there. And to learn situations where you might want to select a different scan mode, I would recommend consulting your Wonderware documentation for those different scan modes that are available. Now that I have a topic configured, I can add the item that I want to access. Now, just be aware that for larger projects, you may also want to import tags from a CSV file, which is definitely possible. You'll see there are some options down here in the attributes list for import and export. So the easiest method for doing that, if you did need to do that for a larger project, is to first configure an item, which you'll see me do in just a moment, then export a CSV file for the attributes in the topic to use as your template file. And then once you've created that file, you can use the import button to bring that back into your topic. So I'm going to manually create my attribute item for this particular topic. So first I need to make sure my topic's selected, which I have it highlighted here. And then I'm going to go down and I'm going to click the blue plus symbol above the attributes section here. And you'll see that gives me my field for entering the attribute name. I'm going to just name my attribute integer read to match the item name from OmniServer. And I'm going to hit enter to create that attribute. And now that the attribute is added, I need to define the item reference over here to the right, which defaults to, as you can see, undefined. So with this highlighted, I just need to click in the item reference section, and that's going to allow me to define that item reference and enter a proper reference from item. For OmniServer, you just need to specify the item name again. So I'm going to enter integer read again because that's my item name. And I don't have to enter topic.item name because my topic's already taken care of up here. That's the first thing I created. So since I'm only adding, and I'm going to hit enter to apply that, since I'm only adding one item for this demonstration, I'm actually finished configuring the SuiteLink DI object and just need to save the changes and close the configuration screen. So to do that, I'm going to click this Save and Close Editor button up here at the top. Then I need to check in the changes I just made. I'm going to skip adding a comment here and just click the OK button to check this instance back in. Now that the SuiteLink DI object has been configured, it needs to be assigned. I need to just assign it underneath the my App Engine system object down below that was configured earlier. So I'm going to grab that and drag it to my App Engine and assign that. Okay, now that my SuiteLink DI object is assigned, the final object that I need in order to connect to the OmniServer is an instance of the $analog device application template. So I'm going to go up here and expand my application folder in my template toolbox. And I'm using the analog device template because the tag in OmniServer I'm connecting to in this demo is an integer. You want to consult your Wonderware documentation again for more information on application objects and their usages. So I just need to grab this template, drag an instance to my unassigned host folder to create that instance of it, analog device _001. I keep that default name. Then I just need to configure the properties of this new instance. So I'm going to double click to open the properties. And in my properties, I need to assign an item from the topic I just configured in the SuiteLink DI object. Now this assignment's made under the IO section, so I'm going to go to my IO section, and that's done in the PV input source. Items added to the topic of the SuiteLink DI object can be browsed and selected. So to do that, I just need to click this ellipsis button here to the right of my PV input source. And that opens my Galaxy browser. Now to browse to the item in my topic, I simply need to highlight the DDE SuiteLink client _001 instance over here. You can see that's done. And then I'm going to scroll. I need to scroll down here in the right-hand view to find the item in the topic I configured earlier in the list. So you see here I have simdevice.integerRead, and that's the one I'm interested in. So I'm going to highlight that. And I'm going to click OK to add that to my PV input source field. And that populated my full source path to the tag. So now that the PV input source has been assigned, the analog device _001 instance just needs to be saved. So I'm going to go up here again to my Save and Close Editor button. I'm going to click that. And I'm going to go ahead and check this instance back in without a comment. Just click OK. And you'll see that's finished checking that back in. So now my analog device instance needs to be assigned to the area system object in my deployment view. So I'm going to drag that down to my area to assign it. Now all my objects have been configured and assigned. So the next step is just to deploy my Galaxy so I can go ahead and collect my simulated live data from OmniServer. And to do so, I'm just going to right click on my Win platform and I'm going to select the deploy option. And that opens the deploy dialog box where I'm just going to use the default settings and click OK to deploy all the objects I've just configured. So that's starting my deployment process. So we just need to wait for that to be completed and then we'll proceed. Okay, now that my deployment is completed at 100%, I can go ahead and click the close button to proceed and view the data being collected. Now to do this, I need to open the object viewer in System Platform. So I'm going to highlight my analog device _001 instance in the deployment view. I'm going to right click on that and I'm going to select view in Object Viewer. As you can see, that launches the Object Viewer specifically populated with information about my specific analog device object. Now, if I look in the field to the right here, I'm looking for pv.input.value. These are alphabetical, so there's my pv.input.value. You can see I have good quality, OK status, and I actually have a value and a timestamp here. But I want to monitor changing values for this attribute without having to click this every time to get a new value update. So to do that, I'm going to right-click and select Add to Watch. You'll see that added my PV input value attribute down here to my watch list at the bottom of the viewer. As you can see, the value has started to update as value changes are received from OmniServer with updated timestamps and good quality and a status of OK. So that tells me that we're successfully connected to OmniServer and communicating and receiving live updates from that simulated topic that I showed you earlier. And, so just be aware that if the item is not in this added watch list, the item is not going to automatically receive updates unless that value field is specifically clicked each time. So as you can see, it's very straightforward to set up a simple SuiteLink connection from System Platform to the OmniServer, making it extremely easy for you to integrate all of your other devices that aren't using a standard off-the-shelf protocol without having to go out and put the time and expense into building a custom driver with custom code.